Hello everyone.
Hello, hello.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Talia.
And we are
the Lazy
Book Lovers. Oh no, that was me, my bad.
That one.
My brain stopped working. Let's set the tone for the episode. This
Do you know what will help your brain?
This is a podcast for book lovers who procrastinate about reading and have never ending to be read piles. Talking about my brain not working, quick shout out to our sponsors, Magic Mind. It's the world's first productivity shot, which I clearly need because it helps you focus. And as we've just seen by that intro, I lost focus midway through the intro we've been doing for an entire year.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're in desperate need of their help.
So more on them later.
Yes. Okay. So today's episode is a reading update. So this is kind of pretty much the end of 2023 books we haven't talked about yet. So episode 99 was our last reading update. But for us, we actually recorded that in November. So you've got a couple months to catch up on, basically.
Yeah, and then if you go to episode 100, you'll hear roughly all of the books we read. In 2023.
So, because this is quite a big update, we're just talking about standouts now. We're not doing every single thing. If you want to see what we have read, you can find our story graphs. And we've also got a Facebook group you can join.
Yeah, which is called Lazy Book Lovers Podcast.
Why were you looking at me? You're the one that set it up.
Huh? No, you set it up, didn't you?
I set up the Facebook page. You set up the actual group.
Link in our bio. But yeah, we're going to start doing more in-depth, like, sharing over there. So on here, on our reading updates, we're just going to talk about some standouts. So if you want to see more, come join our Facebook group. We want to build a community there with you. So
we want to talk about books with you. We want some book friends.
Yeah, beyond just us two.
Yeah, because I keep trying to make my friends like books, and I have not been successful.
How dare people be too busy?
I keep giving them books to read and they're like, I don't want this. Yeah, and then they don't read it. And I'm like, why aren't you reading the book I gave you?
Like, because I told you I didn't want to read it when you gave it to me.
I'm like, but I'm upset now you didn't read the book that I gave you against your will.
Whoa, gaslighting. Right, come on.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So, I am on my manga hype, apparently.
Yep.
So last book I read of 2023 was volume 1 of SpyXFamily.
Okay.
This was so funny. Like, I was genuinely sitting in bed laughing. And my mum kept looking at me like, what is going on? And I was just chuckling away.
What's this joy?
Yeah, it's like,
shut the fuck up.
Hang on. This is, I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's set anywhere real. It's kind of like a imaginary time period and place, I think. And it seems to be like after, it's like in the midst of some sort of Cold War or something, but everyone involved is not a real country.
Okay.
And there's a spy, and he is one of the best spies. He's called Twilight. He's a master spy.
Right.
And he gets given a mission in which he needs to infiltrate a elite boarding school to get close to a political someone. So in order to do that, he has to find a wife and a child in like a week, and then get that child like what's the word? Enrolled in this elite school and stuff. He's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then off he goes, and he goes to like an orphanage and picks the child, and he's like, yeah, that'll do, I'll take that one. And he's trying to find a wife, because he needs to be married within a week, and she has to be the mum of this child. Yeah. And unbeknownst to him, because he's keeping the fact that he's a spy a secret. That's the other thing. He's got to somehow convince some woman to marry him
in a week.
Yeah, and unbeknownst to him, the woman that he convinces is an assassin. And she's keeping that a secret. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
The little girl who he like adopted, but not really, just went into an orphanage and took, basically, is a telepath, and she's keeping that a secret. So she knows that dad is a spy and mum is an assassin, and she thinks it's all a fun game.
That's amazing.
So I don't know, because like the dad kind of knows she's a telepath because he's trying to teach her the stuff to get her past the entrance exams.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to learn. I'm just gonna take it out of the other kids' minds. The answers.
Oh my god. Our school would be so good if it was a telepath.
And yeah, it was so funny. It was only volume 1, and I am already ready for volume 2. Yeah, it was brilliant. I loved it.
Is it like sort of middle grade or?
I would say probably YA, because there's a lot of like death when he's on his missions, and she's an assassin, so she kills people and kicks them in the face and stuff. It's quite fun. Yeah, and it's very well drawn. It was just, I was laughing out loud so much. So, I think there's like maybe 8 of them that are currently out. I might be making that number up. Let me check. Yeah, I completely made that number up. There is 13 of them. If I haven't read all of these by the end of this year, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
That was such a delight to read. Strongly recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right. I did kind of mention this in our 2023 like reading wrap up because I was excited. So sorry if you're hearing this again.
Deal with it.
It was brief. I re-listened to. Oh, well, I read them originally, but I re-listened this time to the Hunger Games trilogy.
Oh yeah.
On Scribd.
Everand.
Yeah, technically Everand, but I refuse.
I
refuse.
It's like
that. If they go to get the subscription, it says Scribd.
Yeah.
So,
who do you think you are, Elon Musk?
Natalie has a code so you can get 2 months free to trial Scribd. By the way.
Yeah, 2 months free trial, worth a try.
Because you get audiobooks and ebooks on there. Too. Yeah. And it's not limited to like 1 credit. You can listen to multiple books that are available. And they have a lot of new releases as well. And indie books. So yeah, this is why I decided to re-listen, because a TikToker I like, who mostly, I did mention this before, she does mostly like autism representation sort of stuff. But when the new Hunger Games film came out, she was like, okay, we've activated an old hyperfocus. I'm going to give you all my knowledge. And I was like, I love that. You like share. And she said about the Tatiana Mussolini narrator of the books, so I listened to those ones. She does do Katniss's voice how I pictured it in my head.
Oh, okay.
To me, like she gets Katniss's tone right. So I made a little list, which I did do on my blog, which is like things that I noticed. Because I'm not going to summarise the Hunger Games series, because unless you've lived under a rock, you know what they're about.
Yeah, you've probably read the books or seen the films or Osmosis, the storyline. Yeah,
you know vaguely what it's about. So this is just the things I kind of noticed on the re-listen. Katniss is a lot less likeable than how Jennifer Lawrence plays her, or how they choose to play her in the films.
That doesn't shock me.
Because Katniss is not supposed to be likeable.
No. But Jennifer Lawrence as a person is likeable, and obviously for marketing they can't have a female
can't have
that's
an unlikable female character. No, especially the time when they were released in the films, 2010s.
Yeah. I mean, even now.
Yeah.
Like, females cannot be unlikable, or you're fucked.
But she's funnier. She's a really, really dry sense of humour, which is how... Because a lot of the time people are like, why is everyone... like, in the films, when people talk about it, they're like, why is everyone, like, following this girl? Why is this girl with no charm leader of the rebellion? It doesn't make sense. But it's like, you can kind of see how she cultivates these relationships with this really dry sense of humour and this kind of loyalty she has for people.
Yeah. Okay.
And like her and Cinna's relationship isn't done very well in the films at all.
No.
And like, because everyone's like, I don't know why she cared so much about her stylist. And I was like, they just don't show you.
Question.
Yeah. I think they played the dynamic well, but they just don't show why the depth was there. They played the depth, but not why. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, you can kind of see how every action she takes in these books is never for a rebellion.
No.
It's just to keep her sister alive.
Yeah.
So every time she's like, I have to do this because my mum and my sister are watching.
Yeah.
Or like, I have to do this because otherwise they'll kill my mum and sister. Like, I have to get involved with the rebellion because otherwise they will kill my mum and sister. That's her thought the whole time. She's like, I have to now fix everything because they will kill my mum and sister, or my sister will go through this. Like, and the fact that, I mean, spoilers, but if you don't know this, again, where have you been? the fact that Prim dies in the end, it just feels so much more tragic on the reread.
Yeah.
Because then you just realise she's put herself through hell just to keep Prim alive. And to keep Prim from going through the same trauma she has.
Yeah.
And then in book 3, she's starting to realise that Prim has been through different trauma, but still a lot of fucking trauma. Yeah. And it's just like,
yeah, and then it's hard to show that in the films because it's ill internal.
Yeah, and like obviously they don't quite show when she goes into the same catatonic state her mum went into.
Yeah.
And all that Katniss feels about that, because she blames her mum for everything she's gone through.
Yeah.
And then it happens to Katniss too. So yeah, that was one of the things I noticed. Peter is much, much funnier. Peter's really fucking funny.
He's kind of pointless in the films, I feel.
He's very nothingy.
I think when he's laying there with his paint, oh no, it's so
Have you
stupid.
seen that spoof someone did?
Yeah.
Where it's like, where are you? And then she turns around and it's a giant cake in the middle of the woods. Yeah.
I knew where you were going with that.
Yeah. He's so much funnier. Like, the bit where she finds him, like, dying and she drags him to the cave and he looks like death.
Yeah.
He's like, how about a kiss now?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, she's like squeezing the pus from his leg and he's like,
kiss?
am I turning you on? Like, but not in those words.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is really hot, isn't it? Like, he's really funny and he's really good at helping Katniss come out of her own head. I don't think he gets enough credit in the films. Gale, being the violent, angry dickhead who ends up designing the bomb that kills Prim, because a lot of people are like, that's so out of Gale's character. No, in the books, he is angry.
Yeah, from the very beginning,
he is
just
so
an
angry.
person.
And he's always just for, like, murder.
Yeah.
He's just, like, kill people. And when they, like, they don't do this in the films, but when they go, they crack District 2, and Katniss goes there, and actually is assigned there, which they make it seem like she sneaks out, I think. I can't remember exactly how the film goes. Yeah. And Gale's like, hey, let's just bring down the whole mountain. And she's like, we're going to destroy an entire district. How does that make us better than the capital?
Yeah.
And he's like, exactly. This is how we're going to win. We've got to play like the capital. And Katniss is like, no. So Gale, and basically he's like almost a dark mirror for Katniss of who she could have been.
Yeah.
Because they both lose their fathers in the same accident. They're about the same age. They have to hunt to keep their families alive. And he is literally meant to be Katniss's dark mirror of like what she could have been like.
Yeah, I mean, I've not read the books for a while, but I feel like he's not, like, villainised, though, because it is a coping mechanism for him.
She can see how she's like, I can understand how I could think like that, but I have now seen too much death, and death is just bad.
Yeah,
death of
she
all
just
people is
doesn't
bad.
want death, regardless.
And she also doesn't see the capital as not human, whereas Gale doesn't see them as people.
And that's what really comes into play when it's like the assassination thing of President Snow, etc. Yeah,
and then all the parallels that I've now noticed between Katniss and Lucy Gray, having just watched the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes film.
Oh yeah, I did.
They're really
didn't
clever.
know who that was for a minute. Yeah,
yeah. Lucy Gray is the main character in that film, and that's Snow's tribute that he ends up falling in love with.
In the film, as I said, I've not read the books for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like Effie's so much more likeable in the film. Like, she has a personality and stuff. And her and Haymitch are really funny in the film.
No, her and Haymitch have the relationship they have, kind of like this reluctant kind of solidarity with each other. She's a lot more like she likes her schedule and she cares about manners.
Yeah. And
Katniss is always having to kind of like remember that Effie needs nice manners and that it's not Effie's fault and that Effie's not the bad guy.
Yeah,
because she gets very impatient with Effie quite a lot, and she has to remember like quite a lot to be like, and she has to apologise to Effie all the time. It's
I just
funny.
love it's Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, she
does.
does.
I think she's so funny.
She plays the rest of that character quite well, but they do lose her like we need a schedule kind of thing. But like the thing when they go into the capital in book 2, film 2. And the victory tour, in the capital, and they're walking up to the event, and she's like, chins up, smiles on, I'm talking to you, Katniss. Like, that kind of stuff's quite accurate.
Yeah.
And they're the books are a lot sadder and bleaker than I remember. And my final thought was that I miss dystopian and fantasy books like this. Because it was fast-paced, it's 3 books, and they move.
Yeah.
We are not drawing it out to make bigger and longer books. Like, this would be probably a 5-book series in today's world.
Yeah. I think consumers got burnt out and then they just stopped. stop them entirely. Like
it was Hunger Games and then Divergent that killed it.
Yeah. And then now
Divergent
I feel like...
was the death of dystopian books.
Now I feel like publishers don't want to take a risk on them now.
Because, there's like actual case studies on why Divergent killed the genre.
But then you've got like legend stuff, which are kind of bringing them back in a more fantasy way, I guess. I don't know.
They are making their comeback.
Yeah. It's about time.
But like the Maze Runner films, you forget they came out at the same time, and again they were dystopian.
Oh, I got really confused when I looked at your recently read or whatever, and I saw you'd read that Maze Runner
novella, but he released that during the pandemic.
But I looked at it and I was like, because the cover, I was like, why is she reading crime books?
Yeah, doesn't match the covers, any of the covers set. I think he either did a small press print or it was self-published. It was literally like the fans wanted Newt's story.
Maybe it was something he put on a blog and then decided to just release it.
Yeah, basically. He does a foreword explaining basically that. Yeah. And he always wanted to tell Newt's story because there's a bit...
I don't know who the characters are, sorry.
So if you've read them, it's one of the main characters has to separate from the main group. This is a spoiler-free way of describing this. He has to separate from the main group and it's really fucking tragic and sad. And he goes off on his own and we never find out what happens to him. And now we know. So that's why, and I've been meaning to read it. I bought it when it came out in 2020 and I still hadn't read it. And I was like, I just want a short read, and it's 168 pages.
And it filled the void.
Filled the void.
Good.
So there you go. Sorry, that was actually quite long for what was supposed to be a short review. I just had a lot of thoughts. Luckily I've got less than you to talk about. You go.
I listened to the audio of Starling House by Alix E. Harrow.
Oh, this is one of the ones we talked about and we were really excited about it.
And it was as good as I had hoped. It's really gothic. It's like fantasy, but it's more like a dark fantasy. Right. Is it fantasy? It's one of those ones, I think it's just like speculative.
Okay.
Set in a small town in Kentucky called Eden. And it's like a die-in town. You know, one of those towns that you hear about in America where it's just kind of like...
Industries left.
Yeah. And it's known as being a bit of a bad luck town.
Yeah.
And people either escape or they stay there and just have bad luck forever. And it's one of those towns as well that's like unofficially kind of run by two main families, if you know what I mean. Like everything's entwined with these family names. And there's a house called the Starling House, and the people who live there are the Starlings. And there's just one person left there. He's like the heir. He's called Arthur Starling, and he's quite like, what's the word I'm looking for? Reclusive. Yeah. Like no one knows anything about him, but everyone knows that Starling House has bad luck. It's just a bad luck house. Everyone says it's haunted, and they avoid it. And then we follow a young woman called Opal. She's had a run of bad luck. Her mum was a bit of a drifter. Her mum died in a car crash. Opal was in the car crash. So then I think Opal was like 16 or something when it happened. No, she was 12 when it happened, sorry.
Yeah.
She's got a younger brother. So as soon as she could, she took
custody
of him. So she's raised him.
Right. Okay.
They live like in a motel room, you know. It's just that and she's spent all of her life trying to create a future for her brother. So she just drifts around doing odd jobs, trying to save up money. Her brother's really smart, and she wants to pay for him to go to like a private school to get a good education, a private college, and then like get out of the town.
Yeah.
So she spends all of her life just trying to make a better life for him. But she always has dreams about Starling House, and she has had them since she was in that car accident with her mum. And one day she's just like standing outside the gates peering in like, this is such a crazy house, it looks so cool. And then Arthur is like, what are you doing, basically?
Yeah.
And she's like, I just really love your house, can I take some photos of it? I'm an architecture student or something she makes up.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but you can have a job if you want. So he hires her as a cleaner.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, and it just goes from there. And there's so many like family secrets, town secrets. It's all connected to Starling House. It was really good. It was really gothic. It was really broody. It like the atmosphere. I binged it in 2 days. I could not stop listening.
That's for you to read
brilliant.
it. Yeah, listen that quick though.
Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. I now want to read more by Alix Harrow as well.
I have seen that name on quite a few of those My Rec lists that I look up.
Yeah. Oh, this is very much a found family book as well, just FYI.
I don't know if it's on my list.
If you ever want to check out.
I think other books by them
more
are on
found
my
family.
list.
A couple more from that author that I have on my I want to read list is The Once and Future Witches. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Yeah, I've seen the cover.
The 6 Deaths of the Saint, which is one of those short Amazon original stories.
Okay.
And The 10,000 Doors of January, which is that cover.
Yeah, I do recognise all these covers.
So those 3 have been on my peripheral of things I want to read. So I will probably be checking them out. Oh, and I did actually do one of their short stories when I was doing an audiobook a day. That failed. Patience and Not Forsaken, 47 minutes long. It's a Audible exclusive, so it's in their Plus library.
Oh, okay.
And that was quite good. So yeah, I think that Alix Harrow just does really good gothic-y, atmospheric books, judging by this.
1 second.
Would recommend.
Go. Patience and what?
Patience and Forsaken. And Not Forsaken. Patience and Not Forsaken. Hang on.
Just spelled patience hideously wrong. Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Right, just going to pop that in a wish list, don't mind me.
Yeah, that's more of like a middle grade.
I'm always looking for
young adult.
Included library things for work.
Yeah, I do enjoy just going through them when I'm struggling to find something. Not like I have a huge library of ones I've bought with credits that I haven't listened to or anything, but there we go.
Oh, you're such a nightmare.
Yep.
Right, so my next one that I'm going to talk about, I read Iron Flame, the second book in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. Cut to you to just talk about disclaimer for the author.
Yeah, just if you do your own research, Rebecca Yarros has made some questionable comments about the Palestinian conflict, so it's up to you. We're just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I read the book before a lot of this, or around when, I don't know. Do your own research, make your own decisions about whether you want to engage with this author. I'm just going to let you know that I have read it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I decided not to read it just yet because this, and also it looks big, and I thought Fourth Wing was gigantic. Too big as it was.
So, how do I summarise this?
Did it need a big edit? Is all I'm going to ask.
I agree with the criticism that this could have been cut down a fair chunk, because there is a lot of the minutiae of Dragon School which could be cut down. It does help. It's really nice to have all these cute scenes with the characters, and you obviously get really invested in the characters because you're seeing a lot of their lives. But
I do enjoy day in their lives, like
slice
of life.
I do like it when books have those little scenes of their domestic everyday life. I mean, it's not so domestic because they're in a dragon school, they're trying to kill them, but I think it is too in depth because we have so much plot happening, and so we have like a big chunk of plot, dragon school. Big chunk of plot, Dragon School, and that happens on a cycle. So we make loads of progress with what's happening, and then it all just grinds to a halt, and we're in Dragon School land.
So the pacing's a bit off.
Yeah. So that is the only criticism for this that I will say I understand.
Would it have been better if like the Dragon School slice of life was like a novella that went alongside it?
Yeah, potentially something? Could have been cut down. Yeah. But I also don't think it completely takes away from it, because obviously then you get to spend a lot of time with the characters and see a lot of their jokey lives. So I'm like, it depends on if big books aren't your thing, maybe something worth thinking about. Big books with lots of patience. Because there's a big bit where a big bit of plot happens, and like world-changing plot, and then they reset up the Dragon School somewhere else. And when we go back to Dragon School mode, and I'm like, this whole bit didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Because the big thing happened, and this is just stalling for time so we can prove that you've taken the time to like do the next steps to help bring the next plot. But it's like a lot of Dragon School, she does a step. Dragon School, we're researching.
Could this be because of how many books the series is now going to be? They're just trying to fluff it out. I don't know.
They could get this many books without doing that, but anyway.
Yeah.
in terms of what happens in it, how can I do this spoiler free? The big climax at the end of book 1, something big goes down. Violet is betrayed, and she finds out something that she's been told is a complete lie. Mm-hmm. And we're basically at the beginning just dealing with the consequences of that. And they all have to make a choice, because at the end of that, they are not in the college. They've gone out to do war games and shit has gone down. And they have to make a choice of, if they fly back, they have to tell a convincing lie to not get in trouble. Or do they just stay? But if they stay where they are, that could mean the rest of the ones with the relic marks, which means they're like children of the rebellion, that could mean the rest of them get punished instead, because Xaden took responsibility for them. Yeah. So, and Xaden's away with her. So if he never came back, they, with the bargain that he's made, they were within their rights to just kill all the children then. So they decide to come back. And then we go back to Dragon School, and then it's like also her second year of freaking Dragon School where they're trying to kill them all the time. Yeah. Something's happened to Andana. Andana's changing. And I can't tell you more about that because it's huge spoilers. But she's changing. And that means she can't come to Dragon School lessons anymore. Okay. And Violet can't tell the people in charge why. Right, yeah. The general of the college...
I mean, she didn't go to many lessons anyway, did she?
No, she did go to all of them, because they have to.
I thought she just
not allowed to cut classes, no.
Oh. The dragons aren't allowed to cut classes. Dragons. Yeah. The humans say you have to go to class.
Yeah, so they've got to deal...
You can't have detention.
To deal with, like, what they think is going to be rebel activity, they bring in this new general, and Dane's dad is out because he makes an error, and they're like, get out. Basically, Violet manages to prove that he sets them up to get killed without also then showing what's actually going on. Yeah. So then, and the new general is Torture McTortury of Land McTorture. And he has a horrible dragon, which Tarn has had a fight with before, Violet's dragon, and he's ripped out his eye before. So both the dragon and the human have beef with Violet. And all the people that were with her at this training exercise slowly start to die. Oh. And Violet's like, okay, shit's going down.
This is weird.
Xaden the whole time is like, I can't tell you everything, you'll just have to trust me. And she's like, no. And then this whole thing of like the secrets, and she has to ask the right questions. That gets drawn out through the whole book.
I can imagine.
And it's like miscommunication trope in the way that I don't generally favour. But later we get some nice spicy scenes, so I did enjoy it. The ending is really shocking again. I enjoyed the read. I think if you like the world and like the books, it's worth the effort, but just beware, it is a long book. Yeah, I think the world is really clever. A lot of people have beef with the ending. I think they're just upset because the ending is bad news bears. I don't have beef with the ending. I think it makes perfect sense. There we go.
Peace out. Speaking of endings.
Right.
I read Until the End by Derek Landy, which is the last one in the main Skullduggery Pleasant series.
And that I have been waiting for you to read since May last... No. You were pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's not May last year, it's May the year before.
Maybe the year before, yeah.
I've forgotten that's how long I've been waiting for you to read it. Because we went to the book release signing to see the author. And we actually have posted on the TikTok, last time we saw him, we got him to do a little intro to the podcast.
Yeah.
So you can go see that on our TikTok. Derek Landy stands up when you meet him in person to how he seems online, how he comes across in his books. She's like, always say don't meet your heroes, but he fucking stands up to what you expect him to be like. So he's lovely. But yeah, we went to this book signing. You were, 4 months pregnant at that point? We were in that hot queue in the sun.
We queued for like
2-3 hours. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot.
But yeah, and then basically not many people had read the book yet, because I used a day off to read it.
Because it literally come out like 4 days before.
Yeah, and I used the bank holiday to like literally read the book from start to finish. I literally rotted in my bed for a day. Yeah. So the author was very excited as well that I had read it. And then I have just been there, like, read it. For a year and a half? So what did you think?
At the time, I was on like book 8.
Mm.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a brilliant ending. It was a great like wrap up of the characters. Derek Landy just knows his characters so well.
Mm.
He does these fantastic like overarching things. So there's some stuff in this book that have been sprinkled in for like the last
6 books.
Yeah. He's just a master at storytelling. He really is.
Mm.
He somehow manages to like have humour throughout all these
tragic events,
literally like world-ending events, and and he somehow, I don't know, he somehow just made it feel very complete, didn't he? In February, we will be doing a complete spoiler-filled feral episode on
I have been
Skullduggery
waiting
Pleasant.
to do this.
This has been in our calendar for like 2 years,
Yeah.
and we had to keep just moving it because of me. And so we're finally going to do that. So that'll be in February, and we will do more discussion then. But all I can say is it's a 15-book series, if you don't include like the side novellas and whatever. It is well worth the time you put into it. It so is. And I wouldn't say that about many long series, but...
Because so he has like... There's overarching plots that run for series of books, but they're also split into trilogies. So there's like and there's also big bads per book, but there's an overarching big bad for like 3 books worth. But sometimes there are seeds of plots that are 6 books long.
Yeah, they don't pick up for ages. And then you're like, oh yeah, I remember that from like 4 books ago.
Yeah. And so I think the fact because it's split into trilogies and stuff makes it doesn't feel dragged out. And there's also individual baddies per book, but you're not overwhelmed with too many plots. It's just really like subtly sprinkled in.
It makes me think about how I imagine like, I don't know, like Supernatural is, or like Vampire Diaries, where each week they have something, but then they have like an overarching, and I think I just think like all the characters just had a satisfactory wrapping up as well. And
well, it's not the final book anymore. There's more coming, but well, at the time when it came out, we thought it was the final book.
It's the final book of that series, though. Yeah. The next lot is like a separate, different series, isn't it?
Oh, okay, because it says at the end of the book, Skullduggery continues. ... Because you remember I sent that to you with capitals.
Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't think it was like 16.
Well, did he put something on his Instagram?
Like number 1 of a new series. I can't remember.
He put something on his Instagram. But yeah, there is multiple points in this book where you're like, there is no way back from this. Like, I was like, it's the final book, because we thought so, it was at the time. I was like, he's going to kill all the characters. Because he is not afraid to do that. He has done it.
Yeah, so since then he's had the start of what's going to be a graphic novel series come out. So that was called Bad Magic. He had, so this will be phase 4. Yeah.
A Mindful of Murder comes out on March 28th.
New trilogy.
Yeah.
So yeah. There we go
right.
then. I didn't think it was carried. I thought it was a separate entity.
No, because we did wonder if he was going to carry on with like Omen and all them, didn't we, and make a separate series.
Yeah. So as with the rest of the books I've discussed today, 10 out of 10 would recommend. You've done all right. And to be fair, the next book I'm going to talk about is also 10 out of 10 would recommend.
The end/start of this year, you've done okay.
Perfect. We're starting on a high. One of the booktubers I follow says the first book that you read in the year sets the tone for the year. And for her, since she's been on BookTube, it's been true. So
the first one I read was Crank Palace, and it was really fucking sad.
Yeah, but like what you would rate it. So if it's like,
okay.
So if that's true for me as well, I am going to have a brilliant reading year.
Okay, so speaking of good start to 2024 and the good books and the good vibes we've got going on, the lovely people at Magic Mind have sent us a drink to try. It's this like productivity shot thing. It's a magical potion that will cure all of our problems, basically.
I love it already.
So it's like it's a energy drink that's not an energy drink, because it's like got little to no caffeine in it. It's all natural caffeine from the matcha, so we won't be as zippy and annoying on this podcast, because sometimes when we've got too much energy, the interruptiness is just wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of tangent.
So this is what we need. It's going to cure all of our problems. So it's got like matcha, like I said, and then we've got ashwagandha, which is amazing to say, and we've got turmeric, and we've got mushrooms, so you can live cottagecore witchy life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of other things in here that are vitamin C and for concentrating and for focusing, and we need all of it. Yes. So I'm very excited to have these drinks. I feel like they're going to cure all of our problems, and we're going to be #professionals on this podcast from now on, and everything's going to be great.
And they were kind enough to give us a code to share with you guys to help you be more productive throughout 2024. So you get 1 month for free when you subscribe to a 3-month plan. Just go to www.magicminds.com/Jan Lazy Book Lovers. That's JAN Lazy Book Lovers, and use the code Lazy Book Lovers 20, and that'll give you an extra 20% off, which gets you 75% off in total, but only throughout January. So run. Go do it now. We'll also put the link in the description. So give that a click and start your productive best life.
The next one I'm going to talk about, which I already excitedly babbled about earlier in our reading wrap-up, briefly. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. It's the first book in the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert. The main character in this, she is plus size, she is black, she is fibromyalgia. So we're like, but it's just so kind of, her plus sizeness doesn't really come into it, to be honest. It's just like part of the character. It's not even like, it's not a plot line.
No.
But a lot of her fibromyalgia and her chronic pain is part of the story, because she has lost a previous fiance because of her illness. So she developed it after getting pneumonia. She developed fibromyalgia because it's like a weird autoimmune kind of reaction, basically. Don't quote me on that. I really don't know the science. It's just kind of mentioned briefly in the book.
Did her ex just not want to deal with it?
Because you can't you can't show fibromyalgia on tests, but kind of opens like after she's been ill already. The book opens like when she's had years after she's had her diagnosis. It's her life. And she's out for a walk because her physio says she has to go for a walk every day. And she gets nearly hit by a car. And she's like, if I had died, what would my obituary say? She stayed inside and was warm and cosy.
That sounds like a good obituary.
And like, because of her illness, she did lose all her friends because it made it really hard to make plans with them.
Yeah.
So she makes a Get a Life list. And it's enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaningless but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, and do something bad. And her first step to getting a bit more independence, because her family are wealthy, they have a big house. She's like, I'm going to move out of the family house. So the first thing she does is get a flat on her own. Whereas there is a superintendent who is very hot, but seems to fucking hate her, just on principle. And he's really nice to everyone else, and she can't work it out. But he's like, obviously 6 foot something. He's a Nordic god with red hair, which is quite unusual to have a love interest with red hair.
Is this the one? Because I've read the synopsis of all of them many a time. Is he the one that's like the secret painter?
Yeah. So he just got out of a really bad relationship. He was a well-known, like becoming quite a well-known artist before that, but because of how that relationship ended, he like lost all kind of, I guess, confidence would be the right word, in his paintings. So he's like secretly painting in his evenings and being a superintendent in the day, and he and Chloe end up accidentally kind of like meeting when she goes up a tree to retrieve a cat and then can't get down because she's chronic pain. And he's like, do you need help? And she's like, no, I'm fine. And he's like, you're not fine.
But deep down I do need help, yeah.
And like, through that he kind of gets to know her, and then he finds out she makes websites for a living because that's how she works from home. That's how she's worked out to like manage her condition. And he's like, hey, can you help me with a website? And she's like, okay, but quid pro quo, you're going to help me with my Get a Life list, and I'm going to help you with your website for free. And this is the contract.
Has he got a motorcycle?
Of course he's got a motorcycle,
course
which is
he's
one of
got
the
a
reasons she's
motorcycle.
like, you know what,
Yeah,
I will
he
do
can
this for
help me with
free.
this motorcycle
But
thing.
but she makes a version of this so he doesn't see about the meaningless sex and they do something bad. Because her do something bad is watch him paint through a little gap in the windows because he paints topless. And she's like such a goody that she's like feels really, really guilty about the fact she's been watching him paint naked.
Perfect.
And he catches her one time, so the whole time he's known she's done this.
Oh.
And every time she goes to confess because she feels bad, as they get more and more friends, he like stops her from confessing because he's like, I don't know, we don't need to go there. Like, don't ruin it.
I know, and let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not.
But their relationship's great. Chloe's sense of humour is really dry, and she's kind of mean, but in a funny way. And my past life was kind of like that to men. Because if they just couldn't handle sarcasm, I'd just be like, all right, well, we can't even. There's no point. If I can't be lightly mean to you with sarcasm.
I can't bully the fuck out of you. What's the point?
Yeah, the person I'm dating now just kind of like face palms me and makes me like, he's like, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, moving on.
And like the chronic pain thing again, I don't have any diagnosed chronic pain conditions, but I did a real back fuck up a few years ago, which I was actually in a car crash and that healed, but then through sport I was playing or something, I don't really know how it happened, but it became a trapped nerve in my back, which led to like numbness down my left leg and this feeling like I was being electrocuted down my left side. And it's also when I was working quite a horrible job, so those all things altogether were quite horrible. And then went into the pandemic, obviously no gyms were open, and having been fit my whole life, I had to go from being extremely fit to having a body I didn't know how to live in. Well, that couldn't do stairs. Whereas this body could sprint for an hour before all this happened. I then couldn't go upstairs. Yeah. So that was really difficult. So reading her story, even though I don't have a chronic pain condition, but I was like, oh, like all the things where she's like trying to hide it because she feels embarrassed, and like all like people not being patient with her when she's in pain. Because I did find that, because I don't think I ever expressed fully how much pain I was in at the time to friends. So I did find, no offence guys, if you listen, you don't listen, there wasn't a lot of patience for me until I had to really explain what I was going through. When I was just saying like, I can't do that, and they're like, it'd be fine, and then I'm being dragged up hills and I'm 20.
I was going to say you went like hiking or something.
Yeah, and I'm miles behind everyone and no one's slowing down for me and everyone's getting really frustrated with me and I'm getting really embarrassed and I'm upset. And like, I did, So, and she went from being, like, she actually played netball. So before she got ill, she was a netballer, she was really active. And then, so it was like, it hit a lot of points for me as a person. And then where he just like helps her without her having to ask and without any kind of shame attached to it. Yeah. And it's just like, oh. So it's a really lovely book. They're really funny as well. Like there's some bits where I'm like laughing out loud in this book, but it also made me it had lots of feelings. It's a really, really good book, and I bought the rest of the series. Yeah, yeah. Because there's loads of times where Red is like, where she sees herself as weak, which is something I struggle with. Is when I was physically weaker, I'm like, I'm so weak, and then in Red's mind, he's seeing everything she accomplishes despite being so poorly, and he's like, she's fucking amazing.
Is it dual POV?
Yeah. So when Red's seeing her like struggle and being obviously like having a high symptom day, but she's just powering on regardless, he's like, this girl blows my mind. Yeah. And like he's always trying to make her see that, and she's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, go away.
And all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really I loved it.
Good.
Yeah. Can recommend.
Yeah. Oh, we've got some good books going on. Okay, so my last one that I'm going to talk about is another manga. 10 out of 10. This is volume 1 of Alice in Borderland.
Okay.
And this is also a Netflix show. Yeah, Netflix.
I thought that sounded familiar.
So I wanted to watch the show, but I was like, I'm going to read the manga first. Yeah, I mean, 10 out of 10. What can I say? So, for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know anything about it going in. So it follows three boys men, sorry. Well, they're about to leave high school, so...
Guys. That's a nice generic term.
Yeah. 3 guys. So the main character, Alice, is called Alice. He is really struggling in terms of he's not meeting like his parents' expectations, education wise. He's got a younger brother who is excelling in everything and has already been accepted into like the college of his choice and all this.
Yeah.
And Alice is just seen as a bit of a loser, and he doesn't have a girlfriend. That's pretty much all high schoolers care about, I think. And he keeps talking about how he wishes the world would just end. He thinks he would fare really well, like in a zombie apocalypse or something. Like, he just keeps dreaming about this. He's got his best friend who is called Choti. Hang on, let me double check that. He's called Chota. And obviously butchering these names, probs. And he is just a bit of a loser, but like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
All he cares about is trying to, like, at the beginning of the book, he's making a puddle with a hose so he can look up girls' skirts in the reflection. Like, it's just that vibe. And then they have a friend called Karubi who dropped out of, like, middle school, and he now works as a bartender. So they always go to the bar that he's at. And Karubi's very physically dominating, like, not in a negative way, but if anyone picks on them, he can end it pretty quickly. One night they're all at the bar and they're all talking about how they just wish the world would end and they could start afresh in an apocalypse or something like that. Like, they just want a world with no family, no school. Yeah. Like, teenage boy stuff.
Who hasn't had one of those conversations?
I mean, I have it regularly, pretty much every day. And then they see these fireworks randomly in the distance and they're like, oh, that's strange. And then they kind of get knocked out or something, and then they wake up and they're somewhere new and they bump into this lady who is like, oh, great, I'm in a game with some newbies. And they're all like, what are you talking about? And it turns out they're like in this weird parallel world where they have to do these games to survive. And if they fail the game, they die. And and they're like death matches. And then if they complete the game, they get given a visa for however hard the game was. So the first one is a free of spades, I think, or free of clubs. It's all based on like deck of cards. And so when they make it through, they get 3 days as a visa, so they can stay in the game for 3 more days. Once the visa expires, they die. So they have to do another game to add more onto their visa.
Okay. So they can't escape?
Not that we know of yet.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So every night they can enter a new game. They just walk around this town and can just enter any game. There's loads of people there. Okay. And basically it turns out if you saw these fireworks, you ended up in this game. It's called Borderland.
Interesting.
Yeah. Roundabout way of describing it, I'm not sure. But so there's 8 volumes of that come out. I will be reading all of them, and I'm going to start the show soon. Now I've got a rough idea of what it's about.
Oh, look at you actually reading a show. Or watching a show.
I know. I said to my partner about it because he's watched it, and I was like, this is what happened in volume 1. And he was like, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, really cool.
Although
I was in the mood to watch BoJack Horseman again, and I was like, oh, is this my depression new?
Maybe that can be one of your symptoms.
Because I remember, was it last Christmas I watched it, and oh my god, it put me in a mental slump.
Maybe that needs to be one of your warning signs.
If I'm like, I'm really in the mood to watch Depression Station.
Yeah, when all the books start to get a bit deep.
Yeah.
And everything you're watching is a bit much. I'm like, oh. I think, my theory is, this is your equivalent of listening to a sad song when you're sad. I think this is your equivalent.
Probably, yeah.
That's what I think in my head. Whenever you do this, I'm like, oh.
But yeah, I'm wondering if the show maybe might give me Squid Game vibes.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Which I also want to rewatch.
I've never watched it. I know.
I only watched it like last summer. I was like really behind because I like to be behind.
Well, they made an actual game show of it, didn't they?
Which if you've watched the show, it's ridiculous that they made a game show about it.
Yeah, and also lots of the contestants have said they're a bit psychologically fucked up from the game show.
Yeah, I was seeing on TikTok loads of people talking about it, and they were like complaining about how like they had to use the lube from the condoms as lip balm.
Lip balm, yeah.
And everyone was like, "Why is lip balm that important?" It's like because they were for like a solid week. They were in aircon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the red light, green light thing.
Took like 9 hours to record or something.
Yeah, you've seen the same thing.
Yeah, crazy. And the whole, I mean, is I would say it's on par with Hunger Games marketing being like Subway sandwiches.
Yeah,
you know, it's just you've really misunderstood the point of it.
Yeah,
it's only like
it's very dystopian.
It's only like 8 episodes, so I would recommend.
We are living in a dystopian book.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, can't wait to see the history books about this.
Who always thinks that like the final series of the UK is getting really rocky.
Yeah, the writers are really throwing everything at the wall in a minute, aren't they?
See what sticks. Anyway, should we kill the poor this week? Kill the disabled? How about them immigrants? What are we doing this week, guys?
Oh my god.
Are we going to address any of the things we've done for this country? No.
No, not at all.
Anyway, on a different note. So my last one, which is actually one of my first books for this year. You got distracted by a child.
Just been sent me.
Oh, look at them.
Little nap cheek.
Tangent.
My little toddler.
Oh my god, yeah.
No more babies. I've got no more babies.
Oh my god, I forgot she's going into toddler era.
Oh yeah, menacing era. Climbing. Yesterday she tried to run for the first time and ran into my chair because she didn't realise she had to like stop or whatever.
Oh, bless her.
She was holding the tablet and she was like, so running and just into the
She's like, my legs can go fast.
Yeah, and obviously she didn't realise she has to start stopping before she wants to stop.
Oh, bless her.
I know.
Oh, that's so cute.
Anyway, sorry.
If you're OGs from the podcast, this is the baby that you were pregnant with on the podcast, and the baby was on the podcast in the early days.
And now she can't be here because she's too much of a menace when we're recording.
Can you imagine? Okay, anyway, final book we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I listened to, correct myself, 6 Scorched Roses, Crowns of Nyaxia novella by Carissa Broadbent. So it's kind of set around the events of the start of book 2, but it's a separate people. So I think I can talk about this without spoiling anything for you.
What's book 2 called? It's like the Ashes and a Star-Crossed something or other?
Yeah, Star-Crossed King, Cursed King, something like that. Have
They
you
always
listened to
have
number
really
2 yet?
long...
Yeah.
No, not yet. I always have really long names.
This is a character you're going to meet in book 2, but I don't think we've met him in book 1. He's called Vale. Maybe
I will spend my credit on that this month.
It's only a little 4-hour audio, which is why I picked it. So it's a story of a character called Vale who ends up helping Rain in book 2 with the events that kick off in book 2. And he was someone in Rain's past life when Rain was turned and he's a slave and it's like way before the events of book 1. He's a man from that past life and he was a general in that king who did that to Rain's army.
Okay.
So he never did bad things to Rain, but he also never stopped it.
Yeah.
And he's of that snobby opinion that the turned ones aren't as good.
Oh, yeah.
And looks at humans are food.
Yeah.
So it follows Lilith, who you are going to meet in book 2.
Okay.
And how they got together, basically. Because it's quite surprising when Rain meets him and he has a turned wife at his side.
Oh, yeah. Considering that he thinks that they're below. Yeah.
Yeah. Rain, and it was what also helps convince Rain to trust him. So it's just about how Vale got there.
Oh, okay.
And his wifey-to-be is sick. She's dying. And then her town is also dying. So they used to pray to the god Vitaris, just like, plentiful and bountifulness, and like for farming and stuff he was great, but sees two sides of the same coin of he also is decay, and one day decides to curse the town.
Oh.
Her father, when all their crops are dying, curses the god, and the god's like, fuck you, I'm going to punish you for that. And curses the town to have this, like, wasting sickness.
Isn't it so interesting to, like, have all these gods in vampire?
Yes, in this world, the gods are very much real beings that come down all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever you piss them off. Because we meet, like, we meet Nyaxia, who's the god for the vampires as well. So yeah, they piss off a god, he curses them to his illness, but she was like sick before that, and she's like, so she's always been dying, but slowly, and then everyone else starts dying real fucking quick. And like she loses all of her family to it except her sister, but her sister's got it, and she like studies science, so she decides to fix it with science rather than the gods, because no gods are listening. And she has this theory that Vale's blood is the key.
Okay.
So she goes to Vale and is basically like, hey, in exchange for your blood, I will give you this special rose. And he's like, what's special about the rose? And she's like, you shall see.
I think you're scamming me.
She's like, you shall see. And since the events where Rain has known him, Vale took himself off to this house in the mountains, has seen no one, lives his own little secluded life.
Yeah.
And he's done that because of like all the shit that went down. And he gave everything up to make this kingdom what it is. And then, what's the face? His father, the king, who's the king in the book one.
Yeah.
What's his face?
Yeah.
The shit he does.
Is he called Victor? No,
Victor, yeah, you are right.
Is it Victor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That does sound right.
Yeah, so what Victor does to get the crown fucks all of Vale's plans that he's given up everything for. So he's like, fuck this. I'm going to go live secluded in the mountains for 200 years. And then this girl shows up and she's like not afraid of him, and she's like, I want your blood, here's a rose. And he's like, okay. And,
cheers.
And she's not like any other human he's met before. And then of course, slowly over time, they get to know each other. He rescues her from bandits on the mountain when she's coming to see him, and all good spicy stuff.
His name isn't personal.
Yeah. So it's good.
That sounds good.
It's a nice little addition to the story. Helps you get to know Vale better, which makes me think he's going to feature more in the books later.
Maybe he might have a set after him.
Maybe.
Interesting.
But it was nice, and it's set in the world as well. And yeah, good. Nice little 4-hour. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
So weird.
And that's technically my first book of 2024.
Oh, lovely.
There you go.
Well.
I'm the only one I've finished. I've got loads of currentlies.
Yeah, join the club. Yeah, so that is what we've been reading end of last year, beginning of this year. As we said, if you want to be more up to date, follow us on Storygraph, or please join our Facebook group where we're going to chat a bit more. There's some exciting things coming in February.
Yes. And this comes out in January. Maths.
Yeah. So there will be another way to chat to us coming soon.
Da, da, da.
I'm sure you can guess.
We're doing things. We're being serious.
Serious. That was not
not rehearsed.
No, not at all. That was brilliant.
Nothing on this podcast is rehearsed.
Thank you for joining us this week. Please let us know what you've been reading over in the Facebook group. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. If you haven't already, rate us 5 stars, leave us a little message, share with a friend, anything like that we would love. Please join us on Instagram or TikTok, which we are now posting on.
Frequency not guaranteed.
Yeah. And yeah, we will see you next week with another fun episode. We're going to have some indie books, upcoming indie books. Oh, and follow us on Instagram because we are actually sharing our schedule now, so you can see what upcoming episodes.
You can see in advance what's happening because we planned it in advance.
like some sort of non-lazy book lovers. But yeah, so thank you for joining us. See you next week. Bye.